Welcome to the Explainer. Today we are doing something incredibly practical and honestly, truly life-changing. We're going to build a 3D virtual blueprint to design the absolute ultimate hazard-free bedroom for aging in place. We'll be pulling from official accessibility guidelines, ergonomic research, and strict architectural standards to construct a space that maximizes safety, independence, and comfort for older adults. It's going to be fascinating, so let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Is your bedroom a hidden hazard? Seriously, it's a very important question, because what looks like a perfectly normal, cozy room to you or me, a stylish, low bed, a really plush rug, a beautifully polished wood floor, can actually be an invisible minefield for an elderly person. As we age, our physical limitations, sensory changes, and our day-to-day mobility needs completely alter how we literally have to interact with our environment.
So, let's start our 3D spatial journey at the macro level with Step 1, location and proximity.
Before we even think about placing a single piece of furniture, we've got to strategically decide exactly where this room sits inside the house. The golden rule here: proximity is safety. According to the architectural guidelines from our sources, the ideal bedroom for an elderly person just absolutely must be an ensuite or located immediately adjacent to the bathroom. And why is that? Well, nighttime trips to the bathroom are one of the most common times for severe, life-altering falls to happen. Reducing that travel distance to the bare minimum is the very first architectural rule we have to follow in our blueprint.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we mean by a seamless connection. Check out how the ceiling-mounted transfer lift track bridges the gap directly between the bed and the bathroom. For bedridden individuals, or really anyone with severe mobility restrictions, this overhead track safely lets a caregiver move them without the terrifying risk of dropping them. And, as a huge bonus, it prevents the caregiver from straining their own back in the process.
All right, now that we have the location locked down, let's move right along to Step 2, maneuvering space and floor plans.
We really need to carve out the physical footprint of the room now, and wide, crystal-clear spaces are completely mandatory. See those large shaded circles? That represents a 150-centimeter maneuvering radius. Leaving a minimum 150-centimeter diameter of clear space around the sides and the foot of the bed is just a non-negotiable rule if the person uses a wheelchair. They need this exact amount of space to be able to safely turn their chair around and transfer in and out of the bed all by themselves.
And it's not just the space around the bed that matters here. As we continue dropping elements into our 3D blueprint, we have to carve out that exact same 150 by 150 centimeter empty square directly in front of all the wardrobes and closets. Think about it. If you place a dresser or a chair too close to the closet doors, a wheelchair user simply won't be able to rotate fully to open those doors or reach their clothes.
Speaking of closets, precision is everything for accessibility. Imagine approaching one in a wheelchair. Clothes and shelves have to sit in that perfect sweet spot between 38 and 122 centimeters high. To prevent dangerous reaching, the maximum depth is just 53 centimeters. And if they're rolling up parallel to it, the closet can't be more than 25 centimeters away. Plus, you always want to opt for sliding doors or really easy grip handles. These specific measurements are what completely empower an older adult to dress independently without risking a strain.
Okay, let's move on to Step 3, the ergonomic bed design.
We are now dropping the absolute most critical piece of furniture into our virtual room. The bed is where people spend a massive portion of their time, so getting this design right is a matter of immense health and safety. So the crucial point is this specific measurement, 45 to 50 centimeters. I really want you to anchor this golden number in your memory because, according to ergonomic studies, this is the scientifically ideal bed height from the floor to the top of the mattress.
Let's break down the mechanics of why 45 to 50 centimeters works so perfectly. The research data shows that modern low-profile beds are a massive risk for the elderly. Why? Because getting up from a low, squatting position requires tremendous leg strength that they just might no longer have. On the flip side, a bed that is too high is a major fall risk if they slip off the edge. This 45 to 50 centimeter sweet spot perfectly matches the height of a standard wheelchair seat for super smooth level transfers. Plus, it provides the exact right leverage to sit on the edge and stand up without straining the spine or the knees.
Now that the bed is perfectly positioned and height adjusted, let's look at Step 4, crucial bedside controls.
We are effectively installing a full-on mission control center right at the headboard. Here's the essential setup we need. Electric light switches right at the head of the bed, paired with heavy, non-tipping lamps or wall-mounted touch lights. Next, you gotta place an emergency call bell or pull rope, along with a telephone immediately within arm's reach. The bottom line here is simple.
An elderly person should never, ever have to get up and navigate a dark room just to turn on a light or call for help.
And for those who have lost the use of their legs but still have their upper body strength, the guidelines highly recommend installing secure, ceiling-mounted slings or trapeze bars directly above the bed. This is such a simple yet brilliant addition. It allows them to grab hold and pull themselves up into a seated position safely and independently. It really gives them back a profound sense of control over their own body.
We've thoroughly covered the physical architecture now, so let's transition over to step 5, lighting and psychological comfort.
Designing for aging in place is equally about psychological empathy and ensuring the space feels peaceful, reorienting, and calm, which leads us to a really surprising question. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is, why should you completely remove mirrors from the bedroom? I know, it sounds like an incredibly odd interior design choice, right? But it actually addresses a major and very often overlooked psychological hazard.
Let's look at the contrast here. In a standard room, exposed mirrors are completely normal. But for elderly individuals, especially those experiencing cognitive changes, forgetfulness, or dementia, waking up in the dim light and seeing a reflection can cause severe confusion, disorientation, and real fear. Actually, they might genuinely believe a total stranger is standing right there in their room. So the elderly safe solution is to remove exposed mirrors entirely or just hide them securely on the inside of closet doors to ensure psychological peace during the night.
We also need to carefully manipulate light and color in our virtual room. The bedroom should ideally be positioned to maximize morning sunlight, which naturally boosts mood and helps regulate sleep cycles. Furthermore, our sources heavily stress the importance of using high contrast colors between the floors and the walls. As our vision deteriorates with age, a light beige floor melting into a light beige wall can cause terrible spatial disorientation and dizziness. High contrast colors basically help the brain clearly and instantly define exactly where the floor ends and the wall begins.
Okay, let's drop our gaze back down to the floor to eliminate some final, totally invisible hazards. We have to strip away decorative choices that might seem appealing to us, but are functionally dangerous. That means ripping out old, curling rugs or kilims. They are massive tripping hazards, just no way around it. Root all loose cables firmly behind walls, and those shiny, highly polished floors, yeah, they have to go. They look wet to an older eye, which causes hesitation, and they are just incredibly slippery. Absolutely everything must be a non-slip matte finish.
Finally, let's add the last pieces of furniture to our virtual blueprint. The room really must include a sturdy armchair with solid armrests. This gives the elderly person a safe, fully supported place to sit while getting dressed, rather than trying to dangerously balance on the edge of the bed. Oh, and don't forget the caregivers. Whether it's a family member or a professional, there absolutely should be a comfortable resting spot, like a small sofa or a daybed, for them in the room too.
We've built an incredible, scientifically backed space today. So I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Look around your own bedroom tonight. Look at the rugs on the floor, the height of your bed, the lighting, the path to your bathroom door. If you aged 30 years by tomorrow morning and your mobility was instantly reduced, would you actually be safe in your own space? It really makes you rethink interior design, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer. Stay curious and start designing for the future today.